Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Shabbat Show. So happy to be with you again. Hope everybody's doing well. Hope everyone's had an incredible week. This is a special week in the Jewish calendar. We've got a holiday this week. It's a less known holiday. The PR agent for this holiday wasn't as expensive as the Yom Kippur agent, so not as many people know about it, but it is an incredible holiday nonetheless. It's called Tu B'Shvat. It's the holiday of the trees. It's a holiday that has a lot of hidden, mysterious meanings. It's nothing that we have that is just because. And this week's holiday of Tu B'Shvat has within it so much mysticism, so much meaning as we appreciate, as we look to the trees. This is the Rosh Hashanah for the trees. And we're going to spend the whole show talking about nature and agriculture and about trees and understanding it and getting into the land a little bit, because so often we forget to appreciate the little things that we have, the things we take for granted, the world around us. You can see God and his hand in the world around us if you look closely enough. That's what we're going to talk about this week's show. This week's show is once again sponsored as a program of the Carl Enoch Goldman Center for Jewish Values, dedicated by Jay Goldman. We thank Jay very much for his dedication. And what we're going to talk about today is this concept. What are the trees? What does it mean? How does it work? What is the value that Judaism places on the environment? You know, when you look at the world through physical eyes, you just begin to see things that you can touch and feel. But when you look at it through spiritual eyes, you see that everything really has deeper spiritual meanings. And if you notice something amazing, the Rosh Hashanah of the trees was this week, Tu B'Shvat. But if you look outside, you don't really see much happening. The trees don't start to blossom. They don't bloom. It's still winter. It's still cold. Why are we having a holiday when the trees are still bare? And the answer is that on this day, the sap, so to speak, begins to rise. And sap begins to give the life to the trees. And when you look at life many times, you think that the beginning of something is when you can see it, when it manifests, when that person achieves a level of success, when the marriage is strong, when the kid is all worked out. But you don't realize that the truth is that the beginnings take place in a hidden place, just in the sap, in the roots. So much of life is based on our roots. It's based on the life force, the soul that is within us. And on a day like this week where we appreciate the world, we realize that the true beginning, if you will, the true opportunity for renewal and regrowth takes place when we look at the core of something. When I realize that at the core of things, I can change it. The fruits are just the end. The beginning is the sap. And when we recognize that in everything in life, there's a life force. And in everything in life, there's an energy of change, of renewal. And when we realize that we have the power to change, if our roots are strong, and then we focus our attention on the things that matter, and we realize that we have the chance to grow and change all the time. Tu B'Shvat. The holiday of the trees is really the holidays of me and you. Appreciating our lives and appreciating the world that God gives us, fruit and life and air, stuff that we've all appreciated even more now. But this is the week to appreciate, and we've got a show all about it. We've got some great presenters. We've got Lavi Needleman from Muncie here. We got Rabbi Avi Khan with his thoughts on Tu B'Shvat. We've got a fruit carving demo from Hezi. We're going to hear their story and their fruit that I got a special package from, which I'm going to show you. Fruits by Pesha. We've got a great family called the Perlmans that have been living in a cabin in the north of Maine without regular electricity for over 50 years. We've got Kahoot, we got great videos, we got a great show dedicating to the holiday. It ended on the, as we know, we're in the lunar calendar, so we have holidays by nights. So it just ended a few minutes ago, and so we still have the light of that holiday. So we've got a great show coming up. Stick with us to the end. It's going to be fun, as it always is here on the Shabbat Show. Let's get started. Thanks so much for joining us with this great video, Grow Like the Trees. Thank you, Aish.com, as always, for such great videos. I love that video, as you can imagine. And to me, I think the highlight of that video to me was that idea of the seed in the darkness. There are times we feel broken. You ever feel that way? Darkness, buried in the seed, exposed, vulnerable. It's in those moments where the seed opens up and lets forth the life force that builds a bigger tree. These are the moments that we're talking about here. This is the moments of what Tu B'Shvat really, really stands for. Our first guest is Rabbi Avi Kahn. He is the rabbi of Kahal of New City, New York, and a rabbinic judge of the Jewish court. He's the Vad Hadin Vara and the founder of the Derech Shalom Center. Rabbi Avi Kahn, welcome to the show. There he is.
Hi, Shalom Aleichem. How are you?
Hello, Rabbi. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you. It's such a pleasure being here. Thank you for having me on.
It's an honor to have you on, and we are celebrating this holiday called Tu B'Shvat. Can you share with us some insights as to what Tu B'Shvat means and what it stands for?
So it's a great question, and the whole day I've been debating what to say. And as I'm sitting here in front of the computer getting ready, one of my family members just sent me a WhatsApp, and they sent me this picture. I don't know if everybody could see a screenshot of the video that was just done with somebody holding a tiny seed. My brother-in-law just sent this to me, and he said, "You can't get more inspiring than that. Try to beat that, get more inspiring." So I want to speak about that. I'm going to change what I would prepare to say and speak about that. Tu B'Shvat is a fascinating yom tov. The more I looked into it, the more overwhelmed I got from how fascinating it is. It's like you just said before, it's the Rosh Hashanah of the trees. It means we know our Rosh Hashanah, what we have once a year, is the day that we get to decide how we want to be that year, the day that we decide who we really are, the day we coronate a king, we decide who runs this world, and we return ourselves to who we really are. And in essence, that's what we're looking at it when we look at a seed of a tree. A tree has huge potential if it's going to be taken care of well, if it's going to grow, if it's going to be nurtured. But we tell Hashem, today is the first day of the tree, and it starts, all the halachas of a tree start on this day of Tu B'Shvat. What does that mean? Trumas, Maasros, which is giving off a part of the land, a part of the tree, thanking and realizing that it's coming from Hashem and dedicating it to Hashem. Bikurim, Arla, Neter, Revai, all the halachas that have to do with a tree, what's permissible to eat, what's prohibited, when do things become permissible to eat, is all dedicating that the essence of the tree is godly. Just like a human, just like on Rosh Hashanah, that's what we tell ourselves. We say our essence is godly, and therefore we could do tshuva, we could repent, because our essence is like what the Baal Tanya writes, the chelik elokai yimal, that's who we really are. When we look at Tu B'Shvat, we look at the essence of a tree, and we say that you're godly, and therefore I'm going to give from you to God, to his children, to help other people. We're recognizing that even in something that looks mundane, as simple as a tree, as a fruit tree, whatever field we're dealing with is also godly and deserves to be recognized that it's coming from God before we benefit from it. And therefore we give it to Kohanim, we give it to Leviim, we bring it up to the Beis HaMikdash, to the holiest place, we bring up our fruit and we donate it there to the Beis HaMikdash, to the Kohanim, to show that the essence of the tree is still godly. Whatever we're busy with, we're busy planting, we're busy growing, we're busy with what people would call mundane activity. It's not mundane activity. The first thing is I'm recognizing that God exists in that tree also. It's also godly. Not only I'm godly, the tree's godly.
It's a great point that you're making, and I want to sort of drill down on it. It's a very Jewish way of seeing the world that I don't know if all of us fully appreciate, which is sometimes in life, we look out in the world and say, okay, that's holy, that's not, right? He's holy, I'm not, right? That thing you're holding, behind the ark, holy. The thing that I'm holding in my house, not. Now, there's degrees of holiness in this world. But what I think you're driving at, which is such an important point, is that when you go down to the core of it, which is trees, nature, the world, right? The physical world, the world of the mundane. What this holiday is telling us, yeah, that's holy too, because that also has a piece of God. That's a powerful concept for us to sort of grapple with.
It's a very hard concept. If we would understand that every single thing is godly and holy, even trees, we would treat it with the holiness it deserves. We would
Yeah.
understand that you can't just tear down a tree when you're in the mood of tearing it down sometimes. You have to discuss and develop an understanding of which trees, is there called baltashkas, which trees could be ripped down, which trees can't. Which tree do we say, oh, you have no use anymore? You're not allowed to just say that with the tree, you have no use anymore. You have to look at Shulchan Aruch to see maybe God thinks it has a use still. There's still some potential in it that you might not realize. It might not be able to grow the fruits that you desired, and therefore you want to knock it down to build another one. But Tu B'Shvat tells you, no, there are mitzvahs and trees also. You want to eat something because you're hungry. You got to make a bracha on it. It's godly. It's beautiful. It's part of who we are. It's recognizing God everywhere.
It's interesting. You said something that it really struck me that I have never thought about. Like, I know it, but I never thought about it. You ever have that feeling where like something you never thought of? Like we can't just cut down trees. We can't just assert ourselves on this world. God has a list of rules that we have to follow. It's not my property. It's not like do whatever you want. And I don't think that's part of the rules that people know about, that there's a certain level of respect that we have to have for nature that I don't know if it's in our culture to understand that there's a body of law around what mankind can assert as control over nature, which is very different than the world of where my property, my life, I do what I want, I'm in control. God goes, I don't think so. Like you're on lease, my friend. It's my property and my world, and don't mess it up. That's a tremendous respect that we need to have for everything.
100%. I mean, the Beragoyla, the last Beragoyla in Shulchan Aruch and Choshen Mishpat discusses the passage in Shulchan Aruch that says you're not allowed to harm yourself. And the Beragoyla says that, of course, you can't harm yourself. You don't have permission. It's not your body. It's you have to care about the God inside of you. It's not your body. You can't harm trees. There's a God inside of the tree. You can't just destroy the tree. You have to understand it. You have to see it. And we're blessed that one day a year we have a minute to celebrate that and to pay attention to it and eat the fruits and make a bracha and pay attention to the holiness in trees. And maybe that would help us understand the holiness in ourselves also.
That's the point. I love it. Rabbi, that's awesome. And I think that's exactly right. When we realize there's holiness in trees, then we look ourselves in the mirror and say, hey, wait a second. If God's got a holiday for the trees, I feel far, but I don't know. I always say I have the privilege of taking men every year to Israel for a trip. I see some of the guys on the show now. It's Momentum. It's a great organization. And Project Inspire goes as well with guys, and we take tons of guys with them as well. And I always say to the guys, I said, the worst thing a Jew can say, in my humble opinion, I want to get your opinion. And then, I think the worst thing a Jew can say, really, the worst thing a Jew can say is, I'm a bad Jew. Like the minute somebody thinks like I'm unholy, I'm unworthy, they're cutting at the core of what it means to be a Jew, which is if your eyes are open, you got a piece of God. If you got a piece of God, you got a ton of potential, and you are super holy.
Of course, if I could add to that, there's one of the Gimel Avera Chamuris is Ritzicha, that you're not allowed to kill. So the Gemara discusses if somebody tells you to kill somebody else or he's going to kill you, are you allowed to kill that other person to save yourself? And the Gemara first tries to derive the ruling from a pasuk. And the Gemara says, you know what? You don't need a pasuk. It's logic. Why do you think you're better than the other person? Which the Gemara is coming to tell, what do you mean? You know who I am? You know what my resume is? I am better than the No. What makes you think? The Gemara says it's a svara. Why do you think your blood is sweeter than the other person's blood? And I don't care who you are. The Gemara doesn't say, Rashi doesn't say, but if he's this person, then okay, he has an exception. Right. Moshe Rabbeinu wasn't allowed to kill anybody else. I think we don't pay attention to that on Rosh Hashanah because it's hard to. So a couple of months later, we have Rosh Hashanah for the trees. And if we could focus that even a tree has that God inside of it, a tree, and for sure, a human has that potential to understand the God inside of him.
Beautiful. Rabbi, thank you so much for joining on the show. What a beautiful insight. What a beautiful. I wish you all the best. Thank you so much for that. And we really appreciate you being on. That was really wonderful, Rabbi Avi Khan. That's beautiful insight. I just want to make sure everyone got what he said. A lot of things. I want to nail in on one of them. It was so beautiful. We have a holiday that represents the trees because there's godliness in the tree. In one reason, so we can look at it and go, wait, the trees got godliness? that means I've got godliness. When each of us realize who we are, we start to appreciate the level of what we can become. Check out this incredible video of the one who believes. Check this out.
A bumpy road with all its twists and turns, it seems so long. Could we be lost? It feels like something's wrong. But you don't give up, you're so brave and strong. Stormy seas, its waves are pushing us so far away. We've been drifting, we're so far from home. But you push us to keep going on. Oh, but somehow you still hold your head up high. Somehow you still try. You're the one who believes. Look at all you've achieved by climbing hills and moving mountains, fighting so hard to succeed, and we're filled with pride, standing right by your side. Spread your wings and soar in the morning light. Oh, your strength lies deep inside. Look how hard you've tried. We used to cry every time you'd fall and stumble down. Oh, the darkness, it was all around, but you've helped us see and turn around. Oh, but somehow you still hold your head up high. Somehow you still try. You're the one who believes. Look at all you've achieved by climbing hills and moving mountains, fighting so hard to succeed, and we're filled with pride, standing right by your side. Spread your wings and soar in the morning light. Oh, your strength lies deep inside. Look how hard you try. Your eyes are shining bright. Your smile so filled with light. Your heart so full of love makes life worth living. You've shown us all what you can do. How Hashem has made our dreams come true. You are a miracle. Your eyes forever. No longer do we have to wait. We finally reached this special day. It's time for us to celebrate. Let's join together. 'Cause you're the one who believes. Look at all you've achieved by climbing hills and moving mountains, fighting so hard to succeed, and we're filled with pride, standing right by your side. Spread your wings and soar in the morning light. Oh, your strength lies deep inside. All the odds defied, all the odds defied by climbing hills and moving mountains, fighting so hard to succeed, and we're filled with pride, standing right by your side. Spread your wings and soar in the morning light. Oh, your strength lies deep inside. All the odds defied.
That was The One Who Believes. What a great song by Penny Schechter. Thank you so much for that. As you know, Project Inspire is always doing an incredible amount of programs and work to inspire people. Every week they've got the Mindflex series. It's a great opportunity to jump into some really interesting content, to get to engage in great stuff. This Tuesday and Wednesday they've got great things. They've got Rabbi Jonathan Kaplan on. He's going to talk about revelation. God speaks to man. That's Tuesday and Wednesday this week. Check it out at projectinspire.com. Projectinspire.com for this incredible series. Our next guest is Lavi Needleman. He is the CEO of Muncie-based Hatzlacha Landscaping, trained in Rutgers University's arboriculture program, and a licensed New York State tree surgeon who owns a tree farm in upstate New York. Lavi has been using his green thumbs to run his design build contracting firm for 36 years so far. Lavi, welcome to the show.
Hi, how are you, Charlie?
It is great to see you again. Tell me about the tree farm. Tell me what does it mean to be a tree surgeon? Give us an insight as to the things that you are working on and you are expert in.
Oh, first of all, I have so many notes from everything that I heard from you so far, from Rabbi Kahan and yourself. It's amazing. I wrote this many notes. I love it so far.
Thank you.
You were talking about, like, a person saying, I'm not holy, I'm not worth anything. But look at the trees and look at the laws that apply to the trees. If there's one little apple on a very sick apple tree that has a hollow, you can see right through the tree, it's ready to fall apart. If there's one little apple left, the whole tree has to be saved. You can't put up your $20 million development because of that one tree. That's how important the one little fruit is.
Wow.
The lesson is obvious. You have that good in yourself. You are worth way more. There's no room to say, I'm not worth anything, I'm not holy. Because that little apple, the little goodness in you, could stop the world.
Wow.
And is worth the world. So what I do all day, I have Tisha B'Av excuse me. Tu B'Shvat every day that's my job. Every day is Tu B'Shvat for me. That's my benefit. What we do is we are handling the phases of arboriculture from the little seed to even before the seed, the preparation of the groundwork, all the way until it's a fully matured tree. I haven't been around 100 years to watch a tree from start to finish, or 1,000 years, but we handle all aspects of tree care.
How did you get into it? Like, what happened? You just were always into nature? Did you find it as something that you stumbled into? What was your path?
Thank you, Mom and Dad. They were both retired when I was young. My father had a little grape vineyard in the backyard. They were always gardening every day, and I picked it up from them.
Wow. And what are some of the projects and things that you've worked on that you can share with us? Tell us a little about your tree farm.
So the tree farm is where we move trees that are in the way of construction, usually. And these are, we are adapting scientific methods, cutting edge, to transplant sometimes very large trees. And we take them to a property owned by Jews, yours truly. I bought the farm so that we can move it to a property that'll stay in Jewish hands forever.
So when you're dealing with certain trees, just so I understand this, when you're dealing with certain trees, the value at least in Jewish law is that you can't just knock down trees whenever you want to build. It doesn't work that way.
That's right.
So what's happening is you've got to show up, you've got to pull the tree out properly, and then you got to reestablish it in some place that it can keep its life. I mean, this is
correct.
That's incredible. Like I just want to make sure that we're all getting this. That's incredible. That God's like, don't kill my tree for that apartment building. So you've got to roll in and figure out how to dig it deep enough so that the roots, I guess, are able to get replanted, move it to another facility, and then give it life again.
Correct. What's more amazing is how far people are willing to go to do that. I'm just a small player here. But
Tell me
you
about
have
that.
people calling me that are willing to stall major multi-million-dollar projects because of a tiny little 1-foot tree that's in the way. I mean, I had a whole city block in the Bronx on hold. We're talking $100 million developments because of some twigs that were allegedly fruit. And I'm very proud that Jewish people are so careful and willing to put up everything to respect this part of Jewish law.
Wow. I think it's a part of Jewish law that is so understated. I mean, we've never really fully engaged in that at this level. Tell us a little bit about sort of the spiritual side of it, meaning the way you're interacting with nature always. For people that are sort of urban dwellers,
right?
We see it, but like it's not part of us. Give us a little bit of an insight. And maybe there are people, I'm sure on this, we're blessed with such an incredible group of people that are part of the Shabbat show. Before we continue, I want everybody to know one thing, very important. Kahoot's coming on next. Super important, right? Now, as we're talking, start fiddling. Kahoot.it, get it up, get the app open, jump on Zoom, do what you got to do. because Coot's coming. I know you don't want to lose. Back to the back here. For somebody who is really connected to nature in a much deeper way than most, give us an insight as to how that works spiritually, and the relationship you have to that from more of a spiritual perspective.
Right. The lessons that I see from the trees every day. Number one, foundation is everything. After a major storm, which trees are falling over? The ones that have poor foundations. They've spent so much time on top growth and impressing the world, but when they have poor or rotting foundations, those are the first ones to come over. That's why the Gemara actually says, "La'olam yehei rach kekana v'lo kasha ke'erez." A person should always be yielding like a reed and not strong like a cedar. The reed can be knocked down and get back up. It's got strong roots, but a weaker top.
Right.
There are trees that are big on top, small root systems. They can fall down a lot easier.
Wow.
So
beautiful.
That's one lesson. I mean, I have a life of lessons to throw out. Interesting, you're talking about the hidden growth. Do you realize that the wind, the bending of trees actually causes them to grow? A tree that is staked up, you ever see a new tree planted and they're tied up so they can't fall over? You must take those off after 2 years, because the bending of the tree cells from the wind actually is what's causing them to grow. So it's that pressure, those forces against the tree is actually what's spurring its growth.
What amazing. We could do this. Levi, thank you so much for being on. We could do this all night. It's so interesting. And we thank you for what you're doing. What an incredible thing that you're providing for people that are trying to respect nature as God intended to. And you're enabling that to happen. We thank you for what you do and for shining your light on this world.
Thank you so much.
Amazing. That was Levi Needleman. What an incredible individual, and what he's doing. And I'm so blown away. I hope you are too. I'm so blown away by this concept that, you know it, but never really realized it, that there are rules about how we need to respect nature in people that are slowing construction sites for a little tiny tree, because God said, don't you dare touch my tree for your building. And Levi's got to walk in, figure out how to take the tree out, put it someplace else so the tree stays alive. Can you imagine the level of respect? I don't know, I'm blown away by it. Don't forget one-on-ones. Remember the program One-on-One we talk about every single week on purpose, because it's really changing people's lives, and I hope it changes yours as well. You can get a one-on-one learning partner to learn about these laws and any laws or anything you want to learn about. Custom, bespoke, spiritual wisdom. You don't want to miss it. One-on-one, text one-on-one to 97,000, one-on-one 97,000. This is an opportunity for growth. Check it out and join it. Now it is time for Kahoot. For those of you who are not on Kahoot, get on right away. I'll give it an extra couple seconds, mostly because I want to make sure my mom gets on. 408-9667. You can go on your app. You can go on the computer, kahoot.it, kahoot.it. Let's get rolling. Let the competitions begin. I know what's going on in my home. We're ready to roll. You can just compete with I see Harari fam just joined. That's it. We're ready to go. I'm sure that Yussi's family is tuning in from 3 o'clock in the morning. There's a lot going on. You don't want to miss this one. And while people are tuning in just for a few seconds, let me take an opportunity to wish you all Shabbat Shalom. Please feel free to come on Zoom, or you can go to my Facebook page at Charlie Harari. Please wish us a Shabbat Shalom. We can share with each other. We'll start with Tammy Salmon from Birmingham, Alabama. Shabbat Shalom to Rochelle and Michael Kurzman from Toronto. Shabbat Shalom to the Novak family from Toronto. Fran Hirsch in Chicago. Shabbat Shalom to Joan Kodesh. Shabbat Shalom, and thank you for your kind words. Shabbat Shalom to Irene from Sheffield, Massachusetts. Shabbat Shalom to Ricky Madoff in Montreal. Shabbat Shalom to John from Oxfordshire, England. Thank you for joining us across the pond. Linda from Boston. And thank you for joining us as well. One or two more, and we'll go right to the thing as you are popping on. If you haven't joined Kahoot yet, join now. Leon and Barbara from Atlanta, Shabbat Shalom. The Silver family from Highland Park, Shabbat Shalom. Andrew from St. Clair. Andrew St. Clair from Winder, Georgia, Shabbat Shalom to you. Okay, let's get rolling. Let's get Kahoot going. I can't wait any longer. Here we go. First question. Okay, guys, let's roll. Ladies and gentlemen, what was the name of the tree that God told man to refrain from eating? the tree of life, Eve's tree, the tree of knowledge, good and evil, or Adam's apple tree. Evan from Pennsylvania, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom to Beth from Cutler, Maine. Shabbat Shalom to Leah Peril from New York City. 14 seconds left. What tree did God tell man to refrain from? Shabbat Shalom to Michelle Reichner from Suffern, New York. Melanie from Arizona. Suzanne Bernheim from Birmingham, Alabama. The answer was the tree of knowledge, good and evil. The tree of life was what he could have eaten from. Well, he couldn't eat from it, but the tree of knowledge, good and evil, that was the one he couldn't eat from. Win and No Matter is on the board. Mervis Family Rock is on the board. Hillary for the win. Rachel S is back. And the Silvers are back. Okay, here goes. Israel is the second leading producer of this fruit bearing tree after Japan. Okay, so Japan is 1. Israel is 2 of this fruit. Sycamore, rambutan, sapodilla, dila, and the loquat. Just when you thought that we were doing basic Bible questions, we come at you with this one. Kudos to the Project Inspired team for throwing curveballs around. But our hitters can hit them. Ken Winkler, Shabbat Shalom to you. Here we go. The answer is the loquat. The loquat. The loquat. Most people got the loquat right. That's phenomenal. Yaakov N jumps in. Hillary for the win. Rachel S still on the board. Patulski and Phoenix is climbing up. Question 3. Here comes the turn. In this week's Torah portion, the Jews sang Az Yashir. They sang the famous song, when? Upon splitting of the sea, upon seeing the Egyptians chasing them, upon seeing the water returning to flow and rescuing them from the Egyptians, or eating their first meal. When did the Jews sing that famous song? Shabbat Shalom to Lisa Weber from Pomona, Muncie, to Lisa from Maryland, to Eliyahu from Baltimore, to Gabby Keston from Queens, Rivka Tyler from Baltimore. Shabbat Shalom to all of you. And the answer is upon seeing the water return. Not when they went in, it's when they came out. That was when they sang the song. Phoenix, Arizona jumps on top. Edison Adler's now are on the board. JK, RJB, and Linda. Here we go. The final question. This is the chance. It's for all. Approximately how many trees are on Earth? 300 million, 2 billion, 400 billion, or 3 trillion. Mark and Michelle Mandelman from Montville, New Jersey. Shabbat Shalom. How many trees are on this earth? Tanya and Austin Friedman from Toronto. Shabbat Shalom to you. How many trees are on this earth? 4 seconds. Shabbat Shalom to Debbie Newhouse from Los Altos Hills. The answer is 3 trillion. Most people got that one right, although there's been a nice mix on that answer. Let's see who our winners are. Hillary for the win. That's 3. RJB comes in as second. And the number 1 winner for Kahoot this Shabbat show is Phoenix, Arizona. Phoenix, Arizona. Please identify yourself so we know who you are, Phoenix, Arizona. Congratulations. A couple more Shabbat Shaloms from me, of course, my brother, Ken Winkler. Michael Weingart, who's watching from Germany. Thank you, Michael. Aaron Freeman, Shabbat Shalom. Bet Zuckerbrau from Smithtown, New York, Shabbat Shalom. And thank you so much for everybody who's joining in. Dorian Hausman from Boston. Shabbat Shalom to you, and thank you so much for being a part of this show. It's amazing just what we are learning here. You know, this afternoon, I got this incredible package. The man knocks on my door and hands me this. If you can see it, I want to make sure the camera gets it. It's this incredible dry fruits, dehydrated fruits from Fruits by Pesha. Now, in the middle, by the way, are little marshmallows. You know, they know how to get to us. And it's so good, honestly, that as it came into my house, I'm like, please, guys, can you just not touch it? The show's tonight. We'll eat it on Shabbos. And then I go to get the package and I see that it's it's all opened up. And as I go down, my kids are like, you know what, just for the show. And then they're pulling off the thing. So my kids are now munching on these delicious fruits. It was sent to me by a great company. And we have here Hezi and Rachel Yazdi, Fruits by Pesha, located in Brooklyn, New York. They ship worldwide dehydrated fruits. Hey guys, welcome to the show.
Hi everyone, how are you? Hi Charlie.
Nice to see you, and thank you for your package. Give us a little bit about this company, how you got into this.
It actually I used to do a lot of fruits, my wife and I, for the family for every holidays. I used to be in retail with my dad, and business went down a little bit, so we had to find something else. So my friend said, why don't you open up an Instagram account and put up a few platters, see what happens. And we did. And my wife's name is Rachel. It's not Pesha. That's like a whole other story by itself. So I'm like, what do we call the company? And my wife is like, I don't know. It's not going to go nowhere. Let's just call it Fruits by Pesha. And I'm like, okay. And we called it from there. And Baruch Hashem, within not even the second day, we started getting orders for fruit platters. And then we got into dehydrated fruit, which is also one of the biggest part of our company right now at the moment.
So you shipping all over the world, dehydrated fruits, and it's so amazing. So I understand that you have some kind of demonstration for us, and
we're gonna show something that's very simple and very easy in the fresh fruit that anybody could do in their house, and it actually adds something to their table. Let's put it this way. So it's easy.
Mind if I eat?
Simple.
Can I eat part of your fruits while you do it? That's totally okay, right?
Try the marshmallow though. I know I get you with that, but try the marshmallows. Try the marshmallows.
Right, the marshmallows is how you draw us in. I know.
That's how I get everybody. They dehydrate the marshmallows though, so it's good.
Yeah.
So we're gonna start with something very small and simple. It's a regular simple kiwi. I have a paring knife, but you can use any kind of knife you like. So you don't have to make it complicated. All you're going to do is, to the kiwi, you're going to make a V shape. So you're going to go one line, I'm not sure if you could see, and then another line. And then you're going to keep on going all around, connecting all the lines to each other. I'm not sure if you could see it on the camera. I hope you can.
We got it.
Okay. And you're just going to go around until you go through the whole entire kiwi. And when you get to the end, what you're going to do is just split it open. If it ever comes out, there you go. Very simple, very easy trick that anybody could do in their house. You could add this to your cheese board. You could add this to your meat board. You could add it to fruit platters, anything. It makes a beautiful presentation. Very simple, very easy. And not only that, you could do it from as little as a grape, which is something very simple. Or you could do it to an orange.
Oh, wow.
It's all the same exact thing, very easy. All you're going to do is just keep on going in a V shape, and you just go around, and you can make it to any fruits. You can put it down, and it makes a beautiful, beautiful presentation. The other one, which is also very cool, I have a cantaloupe that's already half cut. So this way, to make it easier. To scoop it out, everybody asks, how do you scoop it out? I use a spoon. You could also use an ice cream scooper, which is very easy. You scoop out the whole inside. Same knife, very easy, very simple. You just continue making a V shape, but smaller V's. And you just go around until you go through the whole entire cantaloupe. And this is what basically.
Oh, wow.
It's not rocket science. It's not complicated. Nice. Anybody can do it. It's very simple. It's just small little V shapes. Once you make it done, it adds a presentation. Fill it up with some blueberries, some pomegranates, cherries, put it on a platter. People think you bought a $100 platter just out of something that's very, very easy, very simple.
You give away all your secrets.
Nobody's going to order from me anymore right now. That's it.
Exactly. What are you doing? It's more complicated than it looks, everybody. Just order fruits from Pesha.
Yeah, keep on ordering.
It's my job.
Don't try it at home. No, I'm just kidding.
Don't try it at home, right?
But it's very simple, and it really adds. It does a lot of presentation to, especially cheese boards like the kiwi, which a lot of people do it. It's right. Very, very nice, very elegant. You want to go even more, and you want to be more elaborate, just peel the skin off. Once you cut the skin, just peel it off. There you go. You got yourself a flower.
Beautiful.
See? It just pops open. It becomes into a flower.
Beautiful.
So
Amazing.
it's not that easy, but it's not complicated.
Well,
After 1-2 time practicing, you'll be very good. So you didn't tell me how's the dehydrated fruit out?
it's amazing. I got to tell you, I'm loving this. The dehydrated fruits are unbelievable. I like fruits in general, to be honest. But you got to dehydrated fruits. It's wonderful.
The people where they got shocked with is the watermelon. They're like, how do you dehydrate? It's all full of water. How do you do it? It's very easy. You could dehydrate anything. So
Wow.
and that's why I said the marshmallows, which is a beauty, by the way.
Yeah. By the way, just for those who want to know, there's dehydrated marshmallows in the middle, which is exactly the trap. As you come for the fruits, you're like, you know what? I'll take the fruits in a minute. Let me hook the marshmallows.
You got
How
the
do people
healthy stuff
find
and
you?
not healthy.
How do people find you? I have your label here, but just give us a sense of how people can find you. They can order platters. They can just be connected to you. How do they do that?
So right now, our biggest thing right now is purim, which is platters like this. You could go on our Instagram page, which is Fruits by Pesha. You could also visit us on our website, fruitsbypesha.com, or you could contact me directly at my cell.
Okay.
So
great.
I'm not going to give that out, but you can see it on Instagram. Go on Instagram.
Right. Go to Instagram and you find out the rest. Well, thank you so much for being on the show. Thanks for the platter. Thanks for what you do. And I hope that people are connected to it and realize how awesome it is and be able to really.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Shabbat, thank you so much. And really appreciate that. It's really delicious. I got to tell you, dehydrated fruits. I haven't had a dehydrated fruit. I don't think I've ever had a dehydrated fruit. Maybe I have, but I don't think so. They're amazing. Check out this wonderful video, calendar final 3. Check this out. Rich.com for that beautiful video. We sometimes forget this, that God promised in the Bible that the land of Israel would blossom for us. And for the thousands of years that for the most part, we were exiled from the land was totally barren. And now the land has blossomed again. We tend to forget that incredible off the charts miracle, that a land can be barren until its children come home. And now it is a land filled literally with milk and honey. In every corner, it is blossoming. It's the land of Israel, and it's our land. And thank you so much for that beautiful video. You know, this week I had the opportunity to meet very interesting people. It was really, moved and taken by meeting the Perlmans. The Perlmans have been living in the north of Maine for 50 years. They bought a bit of land and stayed there. Built a cabin themselves, taught themselves how to farm, basically lived in a remote part of this world alone, one with nature. And I had the chance to catch up with them earlier this week. It was a fascinating interview of just being able to reach them and just to get a sense of their lives. Check out this interview. So where are we? Where am I called? Where are we talking from?
Jonesport, Maine.
Jonesport, Maine. And how long have you been living?
It's in the northeastern section of Maine.
And how long have you been living there for?
51 years.
And how did you end up in north? Will you say?
No, northeastern. It's where the sun rises first in the U.S.
Wow. So how did you end up there?
I met my wife in Detroit, and we happened to get a hold of a Boston Globe, we're looking, and there was a piece of land, 5 acres for $300, and we just drove up to this area, and we ended up buying this piece of land, 20 acres for $800.
So you got 20 acres of land,
$800
for $800 in the middle of some beautiful place in Maine where the sun rises first.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
What lessons do you learn from having to farm your own land?
Well, one is the aspect of the nace of how things know what to do when you plant a seed, and how things are so formulated with exactness, and you can't turn it down, as far as Adis Hashem.
Yeah, it's interesting how, in the city, which thank God you've been away from for a while, the world has gone crazy.
Yeah.
And one of the things that we struggle with really is the time to observe, the time to think, the time to
Right.
allow the mind to process, because the stimuli comes at us so quickly that you probably are able to deepen your thinking in a way that few people can. And it's fascinating that's a sort of a constant theme that.
Yeah, it is. A yid has to enjoy thinking and enjoy his mind,
So what message would you give us today? This is the week of Tu B'Shvat, the week of the fruit, the trees, the land, appreciating the world around us. What message would you give everybody, especially during this week?
Tu B'Shvat, this is a time, we always said, when we used to tap maple trees for making maple syrup,
Mm-hmm.
So Tu B'Shvat everything looks more or less not alive. There's no leaves on the trees. Usually there's snow on the ground. Usually the weather's cold. But underneath, the sap is rising. From the days are getting longer. You notice the sun is more intense. And so Tu B'Shvat is that can we say holiday where we once again key in to everything going on as far as the life force, if you can say, that is always working, even though when it looks like everything's in hibernation. Mm-hmm. And underneath it's an ongoing process. And then all the rest, the rest period needed when the ground freezes and you get that Shabbos tablecloth of snow, so you don't see the problems. Everything gets covered up, and it's more relaxing. So beautiful. All these times, the colors change, and as Sadia Gain says, this world, Olam Haza, is a food world. Every color is for food. Everything that happens is production of food. So we see in the fall, everything starts to turn brown, and all these colors are relaxing because a person can't have a continued intensity. He has to have a rest from intensity. There has to be periods of intensity and periods of rest, and both on a seasonal scale and then our weekly scale where we have Shabbos, where we have to pull out, just like Hashem pulls out in a temperate climate. And so the ground gets a rest, everything gets a rest, because you can't get burned out, you know? So
Right.
that Tu B'Shvat tells you underneath, when things don't look alive, there's a continual life force going on.
Beautiful.
And the sap is starting to go up the tree. Doesn't look like there's any leaves on it, but it's
Starting.
reacting. And man harvests a crop, which is the maple sap, and makes a delicious product, maple syrup, you know? So
Right. Amazing.
I think that would be the lesson to learn from this particular holiday, Hog, time of year.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for your time.
Okay.
It was great. I hope we get to do this again sometime. We get to
Good.
a little more time
Yeah.
together. But for today, we really want to thank you for being part of it, for being where you are, and for being our representative at the place where the sun shines first. Man, that's a great place to be.
I pass it on to you. Yeah, good to speak with you.
You as well. God bless you.
Okay.
Thank you, and continue shining your light on this world.
Amen. Yeah, Gamatem.
That was a small little piece of a long interview. Those are pictures of his home that he built with his own hands. Incredible, incredible, incredible. But this theme keeps on coming back, this idea that there's something going on underneath. Seeing that even in darkness, there's light that's breathing. Seeing even in our lives, moments that we think are dark are really opening up to greater opportunities later on. The story of Tisha B'Av, of Tu B'Shvat, the story that he told us from the place where the sun shines first. Check out this video called The Stewardship. Check this out. We thank that beautiful video. You know, when you think about it, this week's holiday has a lot to do with Shabbat. Because when you live a life where you're busy, it's easy to feel small. It's easy to feel like you're always catching up. You ever get that sense that you're just running and running and running and running? And when you keep on running a lot, there's always a treadmill we're on. There's always a place we're not getting at yet. There's always something that we're comparing ourselves to. There's always some place I didn't reach. A lot of the week is that period of time. The time of doing sometimes allows us to lose focus on being. Tu B'Shvat is this hidden holiday that in Israel they know about well, but here in the diaspora, we don't really have that same understanding of. But it has tons of meaning. It's the lessons of life. It's the lessons of growth. It's the lessons of the darkness before the light. Slow growth is always the strongest. Deep roots survive. The lessons, as Lavi said, that the bending actually is what grows the trees. But even more so, the idea that we are stopping and paying tribute to nature is a very Jewish concept. But it's a Jewish concept in that we respect things because we believe that they're godly. We protect the environment because it's godly, because this is God's world and everything's infused with godliness. And so as a result, I don't have the right to assert myself over God's handiwork. And so we follow rules. It's an amazing concept to think about what takes place. But maybe the most powerful lesson of all is this awareness. It's not even an understanding, it's an awareness that if I'm pausing to look at a tree that has an apple on it, and I've got to call somebody in to slow down the bulldozers because that tiny little tree needs to be surgically removed and placed in a new place because that tree has enough godliness to slow down the world, and you can only imagine how much godliness that me and you have inside us. You can only imagine who we are. And it is our life's mission to tap into it, to live with that life force, to live with that awareness. There's something special about me that the world's going to slow down for. It's called Shabbat. Shabbat's the time where we slow down, not from arrogance, but from respect and humility, and appreciate that there's something unique about me. I've got godliness inside me. And that means that there's godliness inside my spouse and my children and my friends and my parents and the person that I disagree with most. There's still godliness in him and in her. And when I respect them and I treat them with the right level of dignity, then I become even more godly. The power of Tu B'Shvat, the power of Shabbat. And so on behalf of me and mine to you and yours, I wish you a Shabbat Shalom. May this be a Shabbat where we appreciate life and nature and everything that God gives us and realize that there's nothing mundane in this world. But everything has the power to be uplifted. Everything has the power to be elevated. Everything has the power to bring out its godliness. And when I can do that for others, I do it for myself. We should realize who we are. We should realize our power and our potential and take the opportunity to Shabbat, the day that is even more godly than others, to tap into that in ourselves. And so, on behalf of me and the team, I want to wish you have a wonderful weekend, a good Shabbos, and a Shabbat Shalom. And I hope and I pray that next week we get to do this live from Jerusalem. But if not, with God's help, we hope to see you here for another episode. Shabbat Shalom to all. We look forward to, with God's help, seeing you next week. Shabbat Shalom.
We together call it I do, with every generation they take one raising the haters, then I shim hit the pavement blazing the savers, then the world asks where they went. Patience are faithless, the Torah gave the whole world a facelift. If hatred is baseless, we take it, erase it, and exchange it for that master goal. We don't forget wherever we may go, there is only one place we know, and it's called Zio. We won. And you're just falling down, I'll pick you up. And if you feel like you're outnumbered on a battleground,